Hello folks, this is a very simple car design and I'm gonna teach you how to make it yet, but soon it's going to be. And the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna drag those out into outer space because we don't really care about those yet, but if you do notice, I drag those out to a very specific length. Now, I've got this thing selected and I kinda really wanna attach it to the car seat, but if we race, you'll see that it was not attached to the car seat and it didn't spawn. It is a very easy mistake to make when you're a beginner, and here's how you fix it. You click the frame, you either click at a midpoint or you click M on your keyboard or on your mouse if you macro it, and then you can ruin the entire car design by forgetting to unclick the selected part. So let's undo that. And then you can drag the midpoint down and boom, it's all connected and everything is right in the world. And we can do that again, but this time we click F and then we click one of the points and then we click the other one and boom, we've got a point. But again, you see that little blue thing? That is not attached. Now it is, so that's awesome. Now let's go ahead and add an engine to this baby. Now at this point, this plane is secured. And what I say by plane is I'm talking about an XY axis style thing, like right here. In this plane, this thing is secure. You could punch this really hard, break your knuckles, and this thing would be the same angle to that point, to that point, to that point. Those would all stay 90-degree angles. But since this is Dream Car Racing with the 3 in front of the D, that ain't gonna work anymore. Simple two-dimensional stability is not enough. So let's go ahead and give it 3-dimensional stability and an engine, because engines help sometimes when you're trying to move a car. And so for the next bit, let's build up, because skyscrapers. And to do that, we're just gonna make a very simple box. And then we're gonna spawn it in and see what happens. And the answer to what happens is absolutely nothing. Except for it dies. Horribly. And here's how you stop that from happening. Because the last time I looked up a car, I didn't see a flat sheet of metal. We're just gonna create 2 triangles. And 2 triangles because we're in symmetry mode. Basically what I did is I created 1 triangle by doing that thing I showed you where you click F and then you click the 2 points, and then I did it again and boom, triangles. Did that work? Well, it sort of works, except for it falls to the side now. And to stop that from happening, because again we don't like it falling to the side, we're just gonna do that. And we finally, there's that thing again where I ruined the world, and boom, we are now mostly stable. However, if I go ahead and I turn off deformations, and then I take it off of a cliff, zoom in, I want you to fall off of this cliff, please, thank you. Now if we fall and we hit the ground, you're gonna see that we wobble. Wobbling is unacceptable. So what we're gonna do to stop that is we're gonna, you guessed it, create another triangle. We're gonna do it right in the front. Now this might set off alarm bells everywhere, because you might be saying, well, now the center of mass is forwards of the center. The whole world is gonna collapse into a singularity and everything is wrong. Well, not quite. The center of mass being a little bit of forward doesn't really do anything bad. Really, it doesn't. So we're just gonna leave it there and pretend that it's perfectly in the center. However, if you very mistakenly turned off symmetry mode, and that center of mass is a little bit to one side or the other, then the world is now on fire. Because that's going to mean that when you steer, you're gonna steer a little wonky. And while you need to have it a fair bit off for it to steer wonky, if you have it enough off, you will understand what I'm talking about, and you will immediately rectify that very unfortunate problem. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start creating struts. Now these struts are very, very commonly used in cars and engineering because they are triangles. And engineers love triangles. Yes, triangles. It's just this one triangle that sticks off the side of your car. And it is called a wishbone strut. So, and then very, 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 very important thing to note. That length and that length are the exact same. Also, another important thing to note, I connect both of the triangles. Boom. And an even more important thing to note, I do not stabilize, because stabilizing would be bad in that case. What we're going to do is we're going to add a shock right there. And both of those lengths being the same means that this length and that angle get smaller at about the same rate. If you were to pull out your protractor and attach a pencil to it, you would find out that when you take that length and you draw it out with your protractor, it would have a slight curve, so it doesn't exactly change at the same rate, and that's shown right here. So as you can see, they don't change at exactly the same rate, but it's pretty damn close. So let's continue building this car, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna copy, we're gonna select that, and then we're gonna hit Control C, and then we're gonna hit Control G, and then we're going to drag those into place. Boom, done. I love that feature. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create the things that hold the wheels. And this is easily the most important part of the car and the most screwed up in all of the car things that I've seen. What we're going to do is we're going to create a pyramid. Alright, and we're going to do that by dragging that down like that, like that, lining it up with the bottom there, and then we're gonna drag this other part out like that. We're gonna drag that out like that out like that, and boom, we sort of have a pyramid that has y-axis stabilization because of the double wishbone struts. So now what we do is we add the axle and the wheel, and that's all in the same part right here. Boom. Now the last thing we need to do is add a steering rod. And that completes the thing that holds the wheel in place. Now at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to kick ourselves in the butt for copying this earlier, and we're going to go ahead and copy every single thing again. There we go, I've selected everything. We're going to hit Control C. Again, we're going to hit Control G. We're going to drag that sucker into place, and then we're going to drag it down. And the last thing that I need to do when attaching these things to the side is drag a midpoint down there. And boom, we're all connected. Awesome. So if we go out here, we have a car that drives. Vaguely. We need more hardness on the suspension. We need wider wheels because I don't want to mess with the struts at all at this point. And that's about it. So let's go ahead and edit the wheels. Now this is mainly for highway driving. Just kidding, it's Dream Car Racing 3D. This will drive pretty much anywhere. We're gonna max out the damping because we want it to vaguely be able to handle some off-roading. Let's go ahead to the wheels. Let's increase the radius to a healthy 19. Reduce the pressure to 36 because we don't care about our miles per gallon. And let's max out the width because we are gangsters. Why not add a handbrake? Now for the rear two wheels, I want to reduce the engine power by 2%. This makes it so our car handles a little bit better. Now another thing that I want to do is I actually kind of want to lower the struts a little bit. Dink, dink. There we go. Now what's this length right here? Let's try to get it a little bit closer. I really don't want to widen it any more than I have to. Maybe a little bit lower. 0.86. I want to get them a little bit close together. I really don't like widening it because it messes with the ratio length to width. I really don't want to make it that big either. Let's bring it back in. Alright, that's as close as we're gonna get. And the last thing I want to do is get rid of that. And now we actually have a halfway decent car. I would definitely lighten up these shocks quite a bit. I would put this to 0.65. I would increase the velocity to the max. And I would decrease the hardness on all the shocks to 2500. See how that does. It's driving fairly well. Pretty decent. I wouldn't publish this car, but it's pretty decent. Actually, it's pretty good. Now you know how to build a car that has pretty much better steering and handling than 90% of all other cars. Now, some concepts that I didn't go over has to do with the reason I settled with 19. This has to do with the height to stance ratio that I go over in another video, the stability tips video. I go over different things with the width of the tire, the pressure of the tire, the engine power. I talk about why you want more in the front in another video. I talk about the different things about the hardness and the damping and why you want harder or lower in another video. But with those basic understandings and this basic layout of a car, you can pretty much troubleshoot and create your very own car simply with only 15 minutes invested into this video. So I hope I was able to help you, and I hope you have a good day. Please like, comment, and subscribe.